You're listening to NYC Radio Live. David Ellenbogen here, also tuned to WKCR.org. We're glad you're with us. I just realized that people are listening in droves, but sometimes not subscribing. So please subscribe on iTunes, or you can go to Spotify as well. But that's only interviews. So iTunes preferred. This is a super exciting show. We have Lubomir Smilenov, multi-instrumentalist, many instruments actually under his belt. But we're going to speak primarily about his Kaba Gaida and his Gadulka playing, and share his burning set. It was like a real highlight of Ragas Live 2024. So let's actually just take a short listen to excerpt, and then we'll be back with Lubomir Smilenov. All right, we're back. So we are here with Lubomir Smilenov. He is playing this week at the Golden Fest. Let's see if I can pull it. Slatne Uste Golden Fest. It's the 17th and 18th in Astoria, Queens. That's 2025, but it's been going for 49 years. So if you get this late, put it on your calendar. It is the best. Yeah, and later we'll hear the complete performance from Ragas Live 2024 with the great Matt Moran. So, Lubo, how you feeling?
Oh, it's so good to be here, David.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
So yeah, I was absolutely, well, you know, we met last year at Golden Fest, which is
That's right.
just the best. and me and my partner Mari, the second we heard your instrument, the Kaba Gaida, we're like, what is that thing? I mean, it's a really trippy, trancy instrument. What is it? I mean, what kind of contexts is it like played in? Like, do they ever? It seems so like ceremonial and but you know what?
Yeah, I mean, that's the beauty of it. It can be played in so many different contexts, even just outside of your usual weddings and for dances and just for regular concerts. I like to think of it as some sort of a communication tool, just in general.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but of course, within the context that you heard, at Golden Fest, it's its own thing. It's more than just a concert there. It's just one of the best places for everybody to just come together and connect. Everything from the dancing, everybody's in sync with each other, dancing in a circle, revolving and revolving and around, and just having the freedom to just meander throughout the entire space, going from the 5 6 different stages. um it's a really beautiful thing, and to play Gaida there, it feels like I'm at home. And especially given that I mostly, I grew up just over the GWB in New Jersey, and because I'm originally from Bulgaria, for to play Golden Fest, it really feels like being at home. It's just the bridge between both worlds.
Yeah, it's amazing because um, there's like kind of no separation of the audience and the musicians in the traditional sense. I mean, even uh, a lot of times there's no stage, and if it's a brass band, they're just set up in the middle.
Yeah,
You know, and people are rushing to their sets who are musicians, but they're spectators at the same time, and it's got this family feeling, even if you never like were exposed to this music before. Um, it's like you feel like really there's something so homey about it and so
yeah,
welcoming. Um,
yeah. And to be honest, on that note, one of the things I really like about Gaida and bagpipes in general is that the fact that they're timeless, and they're a bridge to the past. They it feels like home in that sense. Everyone has a certain association with it, but when you play bagpipes, it really feels like you're communicating with the past, or you're being linked to the past. It's when I first I remember when I first saw a Gaida, and I'd gone back with my parents for the first time back to Bulgaria. I was 6 years old, maybe a little older, but I saw a street musician playing Gaida, and it stopped me in my tracks. And I remember it hit me really hard. I remember the look on the guy's face. It's like we locked eyes, and I was taken aback by what he was doing, but that stuck with me. And I told myself, I need this. I need to play this instrument. And I just begged my dad over and over again. I need to get a Gaida. I need to get a Gaida. And I've always thought back at this moment because you're so unbiased when you're 6, 7 years old. There's no one had presented this to me. It wasn't, it was a random occurrence. And yeah, I've always thought the impression that it made on me. It's almost sort of um yeah, it really gets you. Um of course I didn't get a Gaida until um I was 21 or 22 years old, but I always thought about it.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting about how you said it. It feels like you kind of like slip into something else, or it becomes timeless.
Like a past life regression almost.
Yeah, yeah. I think, I mean, drones can do that, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's part of the mix, right? Because it's like
Yeah.
something happens to the brain when there's a sound that's constant, right? But constant, but also like the overtones are kind of like revealing themselves.
That's it. There's a lot
Um,
of yeah.
yeah, because it's like, a similar instrument would be like, some gongs can do that too. They kind of
Yep.
can be disassociative. And I always think of this metaphor with gongs, which is when I don't know if it was one of the early trips to the moon. We haven't had that many, but those guys were out in one of those cars, and they were considering like, oh, should we go to the top of that mountain? And they start going up on the moon, one of those rovers. And then
Yeah.
they just called it. They're like, nah, we'll never get to the top. And it turned out that they were like, 20 feet from the top or something. But there's no perspective on the moon because it's just a bunch of like pockmarked, like those meteor, craters. And there's no
Yeah.
sense of space or depth because a crater could be, the size of Arizona, or it could be, the size of a tin can. You can't really tell anything. And I think like with the gongs get louder after you strike them, so you can't like, it's not like a
Hmm.
mandolin hit that just fades and your brain says, oh, okay, this is like, you get a sense of time. And I
Yeah.
think with those bagpipe type instruments, it's the same thing, or also some of these kind of like double reed or double like flutes, kind of Native American things where
Yeah.
you have it sends you somewhere else. Like your brain can't loses its sense of time, I think.
It does. It does. There's I do feel that there's a lot of subliminal things going on, things that we can't feel. Even parts of the physical reactions, the way our bodies react to the vibration of these sounds, of these frequencies, the way they just take over. And the way it puts you in a trance too. Again, gongs,
Yeah.
bagpipes, all these sorts of instruments that have these overwhelming vibrations. They, yeah, they really have that ability to put you in a trance.
And so, what have you learned about like the history of the instrument, like where it developed, or how it kind of came to be?
Yeah, it's still up to contention
Mm-hmm.
about the very early roots, and I feel I can't comment on it with 100% accuracy.
Okay.
But I have read that the Thracians, the Greeks, they definitely had bagpipes at a very early period.
Mm.
I do know that they had bagpipes in Persia.
Oh,
Um, yeah, I do know that. Really, I mean, you can find them all over the world. I side a little bit more with the theory that they originated, either in the Middle East or Egypt, or and then went to Greece and so on.
Mhm.
There's also theories I've heard that it originated in Greece. There's other theories that I've heard, that it originated in Thrace, which is modern day
Mhm.
Bulgaria. So it's yeah, it's still a little bit of a mystery to me, despite some of the things I've read. I can't tell with much accuracy,
Yeah.
but I do know that the Greeks had it, um, and I do know that the likely the Romans took it from the Greeks, and perhaps it spread that way into the rest of Europe, more prominently.
Hmm.
And yeah.
Interesting. And as you said, it's really interesting to think of what how a Persian bagpipe might have been tuned. Does traditionally does the do you have like a non-Western tuning for the Bulgarian Gaida?
Oh, well, not necessarily. I think a lot of the tuning, well, depends on the reeds, and some reeds are a little bit less forgiving than others. So you almost get some intentional unintentional semitones, or artifacts of that kind.
Mhm.
But currently, um, um the guidas I've played are very much in tune. And there's two types of guidas in Bulgaria. One is Jura Gaida, which is more of the central Bulgaria, main part of Bulgaria. And then the Kaba Gaida is from the Rhodope region. So it's just very specific to that southern part of Bulgaria, Rhodope region. And it's also can be found in northern Greece,
Mm.
uh, or at least a very similar, you know, um, version of that. So um, it the Kaba Gaida is a little bit more restrictive in its tuning, whereas Jura Gaida, you have full chromatic control.
Mm.
And yeah, yeah, and it essentially operates in one octave.
Okay. So it
Yeah.
doesn't, because obviously, like at this festival, people will hear, and some of the first kind of Bulgarian music to reach a lot of people are those incredible choirs who are doing these
Oh yeah.
super close harmonies and stuff like that, getting way off the Western
Oh
tuning
yeah.
system. But I suppose at this point in time, the Gaida is more like in a kind of standard like temperament.
Yeah, more. I mean,
Yeah.
especially the modern Gaida. Yeah,
Yeah.
certainly. But you really can. You can very easily get semitones. There's a flea hole on the Gaida, so it's the first note essentially on the top
Mhm.
hand. If you open that note up, and it's usually with it's your index finger. If you just open up your index finger, no matter where you are on the Gaida, that'll raise it up a half step.
Mm.
And you can just keep it open and then play normally with your other fingers, and you can get a lot of sort of, semitone
Interesting.
notes, and yeah, you can get very creative with it. It has and you can get it sound very raspy. um yeah, it definitely has a lot of flexibility.
Yeah, and then the obviously the repertoire that you're kind of dipping into, it's pretty unique um, amongst the traditions, like this kind of the rhythms, particularly of that Balkan area, are like um, aren't found anywhere else. So I don't know if you can talk about that element of the music as well.
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. um it's it's funny how many different time signatures we play with in Bulgarian music. And the way they're subdivided is so simple. It's like when we think about um 7/8 or 9/8, we immediately started 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3, right? But when you break it down to 1, 2, 3, and the 1, 2, 3, and the 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 1, 2, 3, 4, and you compartmentalize it in that way, and then it's very much ingrained. You're not thinking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Right.
yeah. And then you can just easily mix 4 quarter notes and a triplet. It's essentially you're just ending with a triplet at the end.
Mhm.
1, 2, 3, triplet, 1, 2, 3, triplet, and yeah, then just add one more, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then now you can just kind of weave in and out of different time signatures without really thinking about it. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about music when you get to this level, when you don't think about what you're playing, you're not thinking about the rhythms, you're not really aware of it, but you are. It's just almost like a Taoist sort of way of
Mhm.
looking at it, just going with the flow of things. So that's how I um, kind of set myself up when I start thinking about these rhythms, just the subdivisions of them and simplifying them.
Yeah, it's interesting because the way you explain it, it seems as simple as chewing gum and walking at the same time or whatever. But I know personally, for me, I was as a musician, I was so this 4/4 grid was so ingrained in my brain that
Hmm.
it really took me incredible amount of time to break those chains, and whether I completely have or I don't, who can say, but it's really, it's amazing the structures that we like build up internally that would make something hard going that
Oh yeah.
could be like seem like impossible or something like that.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. No.
So you've been learning, like, I guess the other side of it is it's not like this music is full of these complexities for complexity's sake. Like
Hmm.
there's a whole village dancing to this stuff, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. There's a lot of context involved. And the dances are always in sync with these rhythms, every last step. So in a way, it's it's the whole town that is a part of the rhythm. Um, yeah, it ties everything together in that way. The in the manner in which everyone is linked to the rhythm.
Yeah. Yeah, it's deep. It seems like foreign on some level, and then like so essential, like that, of course, like a community would be like syncing up in that way.
Oh yeah.
um and like and also like that, and kind of maybe identifying with those rhythms, like that's our hometown rhythm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. I was about to say, yeah. There's so many different types of regional music where this song comes from that village or this village, and people know that. So they'll call things out by region. Oh, let's do a Shopsko thing with Sofia,
Mhm.
um or Grausko or Pirinsko from Pirin region. So people call out songs by region often, as opposed to, oh, let's do this song. It's more like, let's do this feel from this region.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, there's countless different regions. I love the Strantia region, which is around Burgas. That's where my mom's family's from.
Mhm.
And after I got my bachelor's, I went on these archaeological digs out there. I always wanted to do archaeological field work, and so I went back to Burgas, my mom's city, and I started digging. I got a job, um, helping out the Museum of Nesever and also the Museum of Suzopol. These are Black Sea cities, and a lot of my colleagues and a lot of the workers were folk musicians, and they brought me back. They lived in the small village called Ravadinovo and Sredets, and they they hit me with their music, and it changed my life. It was just so deep, and also, I mean, very like they shred a lot, but it's very soulful, and also yeah, it just very much impacted me. That specific region has a very unique sound. Um, it almost gets sometimes a little more eastern sounding, which makes
Mm.
sense. It's like the southeastern part of the country. Um, so yeah, sometimes you'll be hearing this music, especially the bagpipe music. It almost sounds like you're listening to music from a completely different country. You're not even within the Rhodope region anymore. It's just almost a different identity. So the
Yeah,
music reflects that.
I could I could imagine that while you're doing these archaeological digs, and then at the same time getting exposed to like these deep folk traditions,
Yeah.
that's gonna leave an imprint.
Oh, you have no idea. That whole trip. I mean, now I'm getting more on the personal level of, I guess, why I play, but that entire experience it was almost predetermined. When I got on the plane on my way to there, um, I spontaneously was seated right next to Teodosi Spasov, who is pretty much my childhood hero. He's an incredible cabal player, um, and one of the most famous cabal players in Bulgaria, and is world known. And yeah, I mean, what are the chances? Guy sitting right next to me on the
Mm.
plane. Um, and I had this amazing opportunity to meet him, and it was amazing. But the next day, I went to I fell asleep, and I had like a fever dream that I was playing Kaval, that I was playing Gaida. This is before I acquired any of these instruments, and I woke up, and then from there, like everything changed. I would just get hit with spontaneous experience that's put me further in onto this music. Um, and yeah, I mean that's kind of how it all started.
What'd you find in the digs?
We were um, we were digging an ancient Greek necropolis, so it was somewhere between it was
Necropolis
a
is
lot.
the dead people, right?
Yes, yeah,
Wow.
yeah. That was the
So you're finding little like ornamentary things. They get buried with things, I guess, if there's some rich person or something like that. They
Oh
get.
well, yeah. Most people are buried with uh a coin or drachma on each eye, um, to pay the boatman take you
Okay,
down the river
Egyptian
Hades.
style. Yeah.
Yeah, the river Styx. I mean, yeah. But yeah, we would find lacrimatory bottles too. These are like little vases that people would cry into and collect their tears before they bury it. Um,
Wow.
with the deceased, yeah, that one was pretty deep. And then strigils, used for scraping, all sorts of items, from everyday life. Um, but yeah, no, there's the history definitely ties in with the music, and it all kind of came full circle in that regard. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. The more I learn about music, it's like such an interesting kind of what would I say? Like kind of interesting, like door that opens into like all kinds of worlds and histories that I
Yeah.
would never, never think about. Everything from whatever spirit possession, all kinds of things you find out about that you would never find out if you weren't like checking out tunes. It just
Yeah.
starts going all kinds of directions and
Oh,
um,
definitely.
wow. And so, okay, so that's the Gaida, and I guess I was pronouncing it pretty badly. Kaba Gaida, is that better? That
Yeah. Kaba Gaida. Yeah.
Kaba Gaida, and then the Gadolka is your kind of stringed instrument, the lute that you're.
Oh, yeah. That's like the lyre or lira.
Oh, lyre. Okay,
Yeah.
lyre.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's Godoka. Yeah.
And
That's a
yeah,
really fun one.
and so that's only got a couple strings, right?
Yeah. 3 bowed strings and 11 sympathetic strings.
Wow.
Yeah. They're tuned chromatically. I believe the sympathetic strings were introduced in the 20th century sometime. Um, but yeah, those 3 main bow strings,
Mhm.
same as the Greek lyre, lira, same as sarangi. There's a lot of parallels there too. Um,
Yeah. And sarang, that's another interest of yours, right? Is
oh
Indian.
yeah. Oh, I love the sarangi. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just started learning it. Um, it definitely feels in a way that the sarangi, the lira, gadulka are all connected, that they all come from the same thing.
Mm,
Um, and again, my theory here is that bowed instruments in general come from the East.
that's
I
interesting.
I side with that theory. Yeah, I've looked into it, and there is evidence that uh, bowed string instruments in general probably came from around India,
Interesting.
from what
Well,
I've looked into. Yeah,
is it often horse's hair, or they use different things for the bows?
yeah, no, it's definitely often horsehair. Yeah,
Okay.
that's for sure.
Yeah, because the spread of horses would be like Central Asia, Mongols,
Yep.
Afghanistan, or whatever. That whole.
Yeah, the horse culture is there for sure. The
Yeah.
steps. Yeah.
Yeah, and the interesting thing I've been learning is how before shipping routes, Central Asia was the center of
Mm-hmm.
the world,
Yep.
you know,
Yep.
and that would put you guys in the Balkans much closer to the heart of the action than say England,
Yeah.
to be
No,
like
that's true. We were.
backward.
Yeah. No, that the path definitely cut through. Um. The Balkans. I even think it cut through like the Central Valley of Bulgaria.
Hmm.
As even today where the highway is, that's that's always been the highway. You know, right through Philippopolis, which is now Plovdiv, but you know, established by Philip II of Macedon. It's been around for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, back to Godulka. That's definitely, I like to joke around and call it like the electric guitar of Constantinople. That's what was cool 1,000 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
In Constantinople.
Yeah. I guess there probably were like rock star equivalents back then, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Right?
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, even biblical times, right? David was supposed to be badass on the lyre. Um, King David.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, I'm
Oh,
like, I think
wow.
they make references to it. I think in the Psalm of Psalms. I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, but yeah, they mention lyres, so it
Wow.
goes back that far. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think some of these instruments way precede all that.
Definitely. And
Because like, yeah, there's images of like kind kind of Veena looking instruments in India that I think are, super, super, 5,000 years. I don't know. I'm making up the
Oh,
numbers,
definitely.
but yeah, pre when they think the Bible was written, like, um,
Yeah, the
wow.
construction of the gadulka itself suggests a very ancient past because the strings are completely suspended. There's no fretboard, Um, it's relatively more complicated to um, construct a string instrument with a fretboard as opposed to just having them
Mhm.
suspended. And, it creates some unique opportunities when you're playing by kind of just hitting the strings suspended in the air. You can do a lot of ornaments that you wouldn't be able to do with a fretboard. So even with these little nuances,
Mhm.
it creates it almost pushes you in a different direction than you would with a fretted instrument or with
Yeah,
a fretboard.
it's making me think of couple things. Is one what's the Turkish equivalent? There's kind of like a not the
Oh,
tongue.
Comanche?
Comanche, yeah, Comanche, and is kind of like a shepherd's instrument from my understanding, and I
Mhm.
would think also, going back to the David thing, I just thought about him being he was apparently a shepherd, that's why he
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and so that he would have a similar, instrument is kind of a cool and your Godolka is nice and portable,
Oh,
so I
definitely.
could imagine it working well in that context for someone who's got some
It's
time
the
on hand.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Well,
And light, yeah.
more prominently, the kaval is the shepherd's instrument
Oh,
in
yeah?
Bulgaria, the flute. Yeah, because it was so much more portable than the
Oh, yeah, it just
gadulkas.
goes
Yeah,
right in
and
your
it's
pocket.
lighter, and then you don't have to worry
Yeah.
about humidity and all this stuff. Yeah. Um, but yeah, that context in itself, having that free time, you know, being out in the pastures, looking over your herd, you got a couple hours to yourself.
Yeah,
That's some good practice time. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah,
yeah,
sweet,
yeah,
man.
and yeah. Within that context, I mean, what other practice type time are you going to get when you get back? Into the house. You have all this housework to do, this farm work to do. All that's like really that's the only downtime you get.
Right.
Yeah. So
Interesting. So, yeah, I can you like set up a little bit? We'll hear the performance from Ragas Live, and it was on your radar before this performance, right? Like it seemed like
oh, ragas.
you attended,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, yeah. I'd been going. I'd gone the year before. Um, Unfortunately, before that, I hadn't found it. I hadn't heard it, but yet. But, yeah. It's such an amazing place.
Yeah. So yeah, why don't you set up? I mean, the context for this recording is, I guess we are, I don't know, probably 12 hours. Oh no, maybe 14 I don't know what it is. Between 12
Yeah.
and 15 hours into this yeah, probably whatever, 14, 15 hours into this event.
Hmm. Hmm.
We just had a gamelan ensemble perform with dancers and everything like that. And then yeah, what were we gonna hear?
I Well, you're gonna hear a Sandansko huro. I started it off with a Gadulka intro, but I also wanted to kind of bridge all the things I was hearing at Raga's Live, especially with classical Indian music. And so I started with sort of um, Tampura John,
Hmm.
and yeah, so I played a slow melody on Gadulka, with what I was feeling in the moment, which was really a lot at the time. And yeah, then I broke into Sandansko Choro, which is a really odd meter tune. I believe it's in 13.
And we're still on the Godolka at this point.
Yeah, we're still on Godolka.
How'd you break up that 13?
I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 1 and 2, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 1 and 2, and 1, 2, 3, like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really, really fun one. It's very lively. Um, and right after that, I break into a Kopanica on Gaida, which is in 11/8.
Okay, so now you're on, and the Gaida is for those who don't remember, that's the more the bagpipe.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. And the Kopanica is also you know, definitely one of my favorite odd time meters. Um, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and a 1, 2. That's the Kopanica beat in 11. That one that was more of a sort of mixed context song piece where it's not necessarily limited to the Rhodope region, but I really that's one of the pieces that I like to take from other sources and to play them on Kaba Gaida.
Cool. When with that was the finale, that piece.
I know that I believe that I started the set with that one,
Okay.
or oh rather I started with Chitvorno too, which is in 7/8. That's what it was, and then I went into Kopanica. My apologies.
No problem.
Yeah, yeah,
Very few sticklers will catch you, especially because we're
that's
gonna
right.
hear it now.
That's right.
Cool. Well, man, this has been fun. I'm excited to let's dive into the music and then we'll wrap it up. So here is a live set with the ubiquitous Matt Moran. And how do you pronounce the drums that he plays?
Tupin.
Tupin.
Tupin, yeah, yeah.
Okay, Matt Moran on Topin, and our guest Lubomir Smilenov on Gaida and Godolka, Kaba Gaida and Godolka, live at Pioneer Works, October 22nd, 2024. Check it out. everybody, Matt Moran.
That was exquisite, man.
All right, one more. Come, take another bow, guys. That was incredible.
Let's take a bow.
That was awesome. Cool, man. Well, I think we covered it. Is there anything, anything major?
I was very impressed by and you have to forgive me, I forgot her name, but there was a really interesting electronic set that happened at like 1 in the morning or midnight.
Oh yeah. So you must mean Arushi Jain, yeah.
Yeah, Arushi Jain.
Yeah, that's her name.
Yeah, I was so impressed with the programming when I saw her set. I really liked the freedom and just the variety of different things you had going. I was dude, you're genius. Like
Oh,
it-
no, I
that was
can't take credit for that one actually.
yeah, that was so cool. I mean, yeah, I'm so looking forward to what the future will bring. But I am a lifelong Ragas attendee, goer, you name it. Follow, I will follow you to the end, man.
I
That's
appreciate
I
that.
really believe in what you're doing. Yeah, and yeah, man, the soul and heart of New York City depends on guys like you to do this. I'm telling you, you're doing a huge service.
Well, thanks for the kind words. All right, that was performance and hang with Lubomir Smilenov. Dude, keep it up, man. Sounds incredible, making great music. I'm looking forward to working with you more in the future, and see you at Golden Fest and all the next, exciting things coming up.
Thank you, David. It's been such an honor. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. All right, more to come. See you this weekend.
All right, David. Yeah,
All right,
can't
it was
wait, man.
fun.
I'll see you
All right,
soon.
cool, man. Take care.
All
It was
right,
fun.
later.